Lily Marsh walked out of school at 3:22 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon in September. She had a blue backpack over both shoulders, a permission slip for that Friday's school trip folded in her pocket, and a drawing of a cat she'd made in art class that morning. She was saving it to show her mother. She was 9 years old, 7 minutes from home. She never came back. People who knew Lily Marsh describe her as a child who drew cats on everything. Her notebooks, her homework, the backs of shopping lists she found in her mother's bag. Her class teacher, Mrs. Okonkwo, said she could identify Lily's drawings without looking at the name. Lily always gave her cats a small curled tail and an expression her teacher described as simply mischievous. Inside her school bag that Tuesday was a book about a girl who discovers a hidden door to another world. She was on page 94. She had been concealing it in her bag, planning to finish it before dinner. Lily was the only child of Claire Marsh, who worked at the town library and walked her to school every morning without exception. Tuesdays were the one day Claire worked late. On Tuesdays, Lily walked home alone. A 7-minute route she had completed every week without incident for an entire school year. At 3:22 p.m., Lily left school alongside her classmate Maya Singh. They walked together as far as the entrance to Riverside Park, where their routes home divided. Maya turned left onto Elm Street. Lily turned right into the park. Maya Singh was the last confirmed person to see Lily Marsh. At approximately 3:30 p.m., a woman named Patricia Dowd was walking her dog along the path beside the park pond. She would later recall noticing a girl she thought was about 9, sitting alone on the bench near the water. As if, Patricia said, she was waiting for someone. Patricia did not stop. She assumed the girl was resting. She never saw her move from that bench. Lily was due home by 4 p.m. When 4:30 came and passed without a word, Claire Marsh rang the school. She rang Maya's mother. She rang every parent she could reach. At 4:48 p.m., she called the police. Officers were in Riverside Park within the hour. The canal bank beside the park was searched by boat. A team moved through the woodland on the eastern edge of Millbrook. Every route The investigation ran for 18 months. The case went cold in the spring. Claire Marsh moved away from Millbrook 2 years later. She could not walk past the park. She could not walk past the school gates. She could not stay in a town that had swallowed her daughter and returned nothing. 7 years after Lily vanished, a family moved into a house on Quarry Lane, a quiet street on the far edge of Millbrook, 1.4 miles from Riverside Park, in the opposite direction from Cedar Close. They were renovating the garage. When a section of internal wall was opened, the builder found something pressed into the cavity between the brickwork, compressed by the surrounding structure, as if it had been pushed deliberately into the space and the wall sealed around it. A child's school backpack, blue. The name inside the top flap, written in black permanent marker in a mother's handwriting, was unmistakable. Lily Marsh. The contents were intact. Her reading book, bookmark still on page 94, exactly where she had left it. Her water bottle, with the small cat sticker she had pressed onto the lid herself. And a drawing, carefully folded and placed in the front pocket. A cat. Small curled tail. An expression that investigators found themselves independently describing as mischievous. The bag had been inside that wall for 7 years. Lily's home was in the opposite direction. She had no known connection to Quarry Lane, to that house, or to anyone who had ever lived there. But someone had placed her bag inside that wall. deliberately, carefully, and sealed it in. Forensic examination of the bag's contents revealed one item that had not belonged to Lily. One item her mother had never seen and could not explain. A Polaroid photograph. Old, slightly faded, tucked between the back cover of the reading book and the inner lining of the bag. It showed a garden. Specifically, a gate. An ornate, distinctive wrought iron gate, partially in frame at the edge of the image. A garden path visible beyond it. Soft light. Nothing else. 3 years after the backpack was found, a retired detective named Alan Bryce, working the case without payment in his own time, traced that gate to a specific property, 40 miles from Millbrook. The tenant on Quarry Lane at the time of Lily's disappearance was a man named Jeffrey Hale, 44 years old. He had moved out of the property 2 months after she vanished. He had never been flagged as a person of interest. He had not been interviewed. Jeffrey Hale had lived at the address connected to that iron gate before he came to Millbrook. Jeffrey Hale died in 2019. The connection between his previous address and the gate in the photograph was established in 2021. He was never interviewed. He was never asked about Lily Marsh, a backpack inside a wall, or a Polaroid photograph of a garden nobody could explain. Lily Marsh has not been found. The Polaroid photograph remains in evidence. The garden it shows still exists. The inquiry into Jeffrey Hale's movements, his associations, his history in the years before he came to Millbrook, is ongoing, pursued by the dedicated cold case unit and the detective who refused to put the file down. When Claire Marsh was told about the photograph, she asked investigators one question. Was Lily in the photograph? Claire Marsh, on being informed of the Polaroid. She was not. If you have any information about a missing child, contact Missing People at missingpeople.org.uk or call 116-000. A child who was 9 years old in September is a young adult today. Someone, somewhere, knew Jeffrey Hale. Someone remembers something they may not yet know matters. Lily Marsh walked into Riverside Park on a Tuesday afternoon with a drawing of a cat she wanted to show her mother. The drawing was found 7 years later, folded neatly inside a wall. Claire Marsh still answers the phone on the first ring.